So in this video, we're going to go over the hidden costs of relocating from the UK to New Zealand. Then I'm going to give you 5 mistakes to avoid. Watch till the end to find out what they are. Let's start with the sneaky stuff, the hidden costs that most people don't budget for. First up, we have admin fees. This is stuff like passports and documents. Now, this doesn't include your visa application. This is just other upkeep of your passport and documents that you will need along the way. I reckon this would be about 150 to upwards of £300 depending on how recent you have a passport. You're going to need a very up-to-date passport. If it's got less than 6 months on it, you won't be able to get into the country. So if that's something you need to renew, I would get onto it straight away. The next thing we have medical tests and police checks. These are very common for visa applications and can be anywhere from £100 to £200. You will need to get a police check from the UK and provide it to Immigration New Zealand. Plus, you'll have to book blood tests and medical exams to satisfy Immigration New Zealand with your visa application as well. We also have in here temporary accommodation while you get settled. I was very fortunate that I had a friend here. So when I moved to New Zealand, I was able to stay with them during the time that I was going through my visa application. But while you get settled, you could be up to £500 to £1,000 for 1 to 2 weeks in an Airbnb or a hotel if you don't have a rental sorted before you get here. The other thing you want to think about is a new SIM card, local bank accounts and initial deposits. Budget around £100 to £300 for these. You may need a new phone and you're going to need to set up accounts and put some money into those accounts. So make sure you have a little bit of cash ready to go when you get here. Now, storage in the UK, if you're not shipping or selling, you could be looking at £50 to £100 a month depending on the unit size. So again, always factor in worst case scenario. If you do need to store stuff, you have that money available for the storage unit if you need it. They're the 5 hidden costs that a lot of people don't think about. Let's go through shipping versus selling your stuff. Now, if you were going to ship your belongings internationally, a 20-foot container is going to set you back £3,000 to £4,500 to go to New Zealand or Australia. A partial container can save a little bit of money and it's going to be about £1,000 to £2,000. Now, these are quite slow and customs delays are very common. It could take 8 to 12 weeks, so you might need to factor in buying some products while you're waiting on your container arriving. Most people massively undervalue the second-hand furniture. You'll likely get 20 to 30% of original value when you are selling your products. So if you are thinking of selling, the upside is going to be less stress, quicker transition, and you can buy fresh stuff once you arrive. But remember that you're not going to get true value for your second-hand furniture. It's going to be a lot less than what you maybe think it is. So my advice, if you're thinking of selling and it's sentimental or expensive like tech gear, take it. Everything else, sell and start fresh. Let's move on to visas, flights, insurance, and emergency funds. Now, this is where it can get quite expensive. So here's what we're going to look at. Flights. A one-way ticket from the UK to New Zealand can be about £600 to £1,200 depending on the season. The peak season, you're going to be paying higher prices, which is summer over here. Think December and January. The off-season, which is during our winter, the opposite of UK, you can usually get some lower prices. So maybe think about coming in the off-season where it's quieter versus paying higher prices in summer. Now, visa costs. This is where we start racking up the bills. A working holiday visa can be anywhere between £200 and £250. A skilled work visa, which gives you more time to work in the country, is going to be about £1,000 to £3,000. And this is going to include your application, any agent fees, and translations that you may need. Residency, which you're going to do at a later stage, you'll need to be on a working holiday visa for about 5 years before you can apply for your residency, and that can be up to £3,000 per application. So always factor in visa applications once you get here and start working and start saving. Now, your travel and health insurance. This is going to be about £300 to £800 for 12 months, depending on coverage and your country. Emergency fund. I would recommend at least £2,500 to £4,000 saved, even if you don't have a job lined up. This is just going to give you a bit of security in case things go wrong and you need to quickly head back home. So the total, what are we looking at? I would say easily £4,000 to £8,000, including flights, visas, insurance, and a safety buffer. Let's move on. The cost of living. Everyone's talking about it. Let's dig into the details. Now, in London, you're looking at about £1,600 for a one-bed apartment. And your grocery is about £300, transport £160, so you're looking at about £2,000 in expenses. Now, in New Zealand, you probably get away with about £1,000, but your groceries are going to be £300, and your transport can be slightly cheaper at £120, so you're looking at about £1,800 a month. Now, Australia, again, rent is going to be about £1,200, groceries about £350, and your transport's going to be about £100. So again, total is £1,900. Now, if you look at London, you've got high rent and transport costs. And Australia, you do have moderate rent prices, but you're going to have higher grocery costs. New Zealand, we can have slightly lower rent, but our transport expenses, again, a lot of us drive over here. We don't have great public transport, but our road costs are quite cheap. So if we look at the takeaways here, you can cut your monthly burn rate by 25 to 50% in many destinations, only if you adjust your lifestyle. Don't try and replicate the UK lifestyle abroad. Come to New Zealand and experience what New Zealand is. We're a very outdoorsy country here. We spend a lot of our time in the bush, going for walks or at the beach. Embrace life. You can do things cheap if you wish to, but if you want to go to the pub every weekend, the bills are going to rack up quickly. So, what would be my top 5 mistakes to avoid when leaving the UK? And this is from my experience. Some lessons I learned the hard way. You want to understand the emotional impact. There's definitely a culture shock, and homesickness is 100% real. All of my family are back in the UK, and there are times where I wish I would be there for birthdays and celebrations. And you also want to factor in money for trips back home. I'm heading back to the UK in 3 months' time, and I try to get back every 2 years, but it does get very expensive, particularly if you're flying with a partner. You'll also need time off work, and a week is just not long enough. It's so far away, you usually have to take at least 3 weeks off to have a really good trip. The jet lag is an absolute killer. Not researching visa limitations is also something a lot of people will get stuck on. We have very strict visa rules here, and you will need to have some type of skill so you can apply for a skilled visa in terms of what job you're having here. Some visas don't allow full-time work, or they restrict industries. So always read the fine print when you're applying for your working holiday visa and then applying for your full visa. Now, overpacking or overshipping. I didn't have this problem. I left with nothing but a suitcase, but you really don't need 7 coats for a tropical country. Pack light and internationally. We have quite long summers here, and the winters are not as harsh as the UK. You may only need to bring 1 jacket. But again, you don't need 7 coats for a tropical country. I wouldn't even say we're that tropical, but we do have quite long summers, and the winter is not as harsh. No financial plan. Now, moving abroad is exciting. I get it. You can't wait to do it. But it's not a holiday. Remember, you have at least 3 months worth of living expenses. You're not going to be just blowing cash on restaurants and breakfasts out, avocado on toast every day. You're going to need to make sure that you are set up financially and you can afford your groceries, your rent, your car insurance, your petrol every single week. This isn't just a one and done thing. Make sure you have a solid financial plan. And last but not least, thinking it will all go to plan. It won't, and that's okay. But flexibility equals survival. If this is your first time leaving the UK and going to another country, make sure that you've thought it all through. and plan for the worst case scenario. Moving abroad is so exciting and I do not regret it. I've been in New Zealand 15 years now. It is my home and it was the best decision I ever made. But just make sure that you plan for the worst and hope for the best. Anyway, I hope this video really helped you. Please, if you enjoy this content, subscribe to my new YouTube channel and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.